unfortunately for him, it's been the Honda, the 125. It's been RS so far this weekend because it really just hasn't been performing anywhere near to its expectations, and they do have a lot of work. The Mac Motors boys, the team that supply the motors and the bike for Masao Azuma, one of the front runners in the 125s this year, and they've been doing a lot of work on that particular bike. But this RS250 Aprilia, it's been going fine because Anthony qualified on pole for this 250cc production race in what is a very hot field, a real mix of youngsters. Anthony West, just 17 years of age, from the Gold Coast, and we have a bunch of youngsters, teenagers and early 20s guys who have been around not a long time but have done marvellous things in this particular category of racing, and then other guys like JJ O'Reilly and John Chiodo on the inside of the second row who've been around a long while, but they are still very fast.
You better go easy on the old boys, Warren. They'll be after you. But yeah, they've got a few runs on the board, but I'll tell you what, Johnny Chiodo surprises a lot of the young guys very often, and I think they discount him a little bit because of his age, but they certainly shouldn't do that, and got to bite their tongue when he goes by.
There is the front row of the grid. Anthony West from pole position, Michael Bevan, Danny Carter and JJ O'Reilly on the second of the two Aprilias in this field. Back to row two. There is Johnny Chiodo, Scott Charlton, Jamie Stouffer and Cameron Donald. They make up the second row of the grid. Not much between them there either. Craig McMartin, Rodney Chaplin, Mark Beveridge and Jason Bell. They will start from the third row. Peter Rabaritz, Yanniv Pelig, Dave Kelly and Ross Cooper. Doug Hall, Daniel Zori, Ben Attard, a Harley-Davidson Super Twins punter as well, and Peter Wild. They make up row number 5. Back on the sixth row, John Winnie, Adrian Schlegel, Jimmy Lau and Wayne Williams. To row 7, Martin Bobrowski, Mark Tonello, Adrian Pierpoint and Dean Cottier. Row 8, Chris Jensen, Mark Lamont, Declan McConchie and Lee Burrows. Back in the ninth row, Paul Maguire, Steve Lim, Craig Morrissey and Robert Burke. And then back to the tail-enders, Andrew Shirley, Neil Keane, Jay Grenfell and Paul Locke. 40 starters in all, 10 rows in this 250cc production race here this afternoon. The first of two races. They'll be back in action come Grand Prix day tomorrow. They will start off the action as far as the racing is concerned tomorrow morning. And well, the Pronties, we've seen them here at support events for the World Superbikes and indeed the Grand Prix last year, and they are just simply dynamic. Tenths of seconds separate lots of riders usually, and we will see plenty of drafting and overtaking at some of the fast corners and even the slow corners at Honda Corner and MG, the two hairpins.
Yeah, if my memory serves me correctly, a few of the leaders ran into a bit of trouble last year trying to keep the bike on two wheels, and I think it was the guy in about third place that ended up actually winning after two of the previous leaders ended up on the ground.
You refer, of course, to Daniel Stouffer and Phil O'Brien. Daniel Stouffer this weekend filling the role of Mark Willis on the Ansett Air Freight Suzuki Supersport bike, with Mark Willis, of course, taking the place of Katsuaki Fujiwara in the 500cc Suzuki team. So the chain keeps continuing here with riders coming through the ranks, and of course in the past years in the 250cc production bikes we've seen the likes of, what's his name, Kevin McGee, that's right, Mick Doohan, Anthony Gobert, Troy Corser, Matt Mladen. Pretty much all the stars who have come through to make it to the Grand Prix ranks over the years have all started here in the Pronties, and we are about to go racing here at Phillip Island. Red light, the green light goes and we are underway. West got a great start from pole position on the front row of the grid and should lead them down the straight the first time as we look out the back of his bike, the CWP Racing Aprilia, down to turn one. A little bit of a gap already. What a blinding start from the 17-year-old from the Gold Coast. Down towards Southern Loop they go.
Straight off the line and into the first turn first. Plenty of time on the boys there. JJ O'Reilly got the front wheel up just a little bit too high off the line and had to back it down a little and get the front wheel back on the ground. Christopher West using all the track there.
Danny Carter behind Anthony West, who was in second place as they come through the sweeping left-hander down towards Honda Corner for the first time. Everybody up close to our curb cam, flashing past at 200 kilometres an hour plus. It is a packed field, plenty of action coming down to the hairpin for the first time. At the moment, it's West, Carter and Michael Bevan behind them in third place, with those blue and yellow leathers out in front. West on the Aprilia doing a nice job through Siberia. Lap 1 of 8 in the 250cc production bikes. A beautifully sunny day here at Phillip Island, but that wind is still blowing from the northwest quite strongly. They'll be really buffeting them as they come up towards Lukey Heights for the first time.
Danny Carter and Michael Bevan trying to tag onto Anthony's West effort to break away from the pack there, but Westy using absolutely all the track in those first couple of turns. Boys having a go up the inside, everybody got through okay. So Westy's still got a little bit of a lead and really got the hammer down.
And it looks to be quite a gap now between third and fourth. These three out in front, West, Carter and Bevan, have a sizable gap. You can see it there already, and that is a real surprise in the Proddies, because usually it's like the 1-2-5s in the Grand Prix. It's a lot closer than that, but this could develop if both Carter and Bevan can tack onto the back of that Aprilia of West. We might have a real three-way go out in front, but West in good form. He's probably going just as fast on this bike as he should, or as he has been on his 1-2-5. He should be going a lot faster on the 1-2-5. Oh, he nearly ran off the track there, got onto the white line, hit the dirt, sat up in the seat there, and the foot came off the peg, and he was nearly off the track. That was a moment there, and you can see Carter and Bevan now tacking onto the back of him as a consequence.
He definitely lost a little bit of time there and had quite a big scare, because if you get in the grass there, there's no way you can slow the thing down, and you run straight across the other side of Southern Loop. Michael Bevan up the inside of Danny Carter, pulled it off, and he is after Anthony West, no doubt. West will have the head back down. He wants to impress a lot of people here. He's not real happy with the way the 125 is going, so he just wants to split on the 250 production class.
Around Siberia he goes, back up towards Lukey Heights through the kinks again. They emerge from down in that hollow there as they come around turn 7, and now it's Michael Bevan out in pursuit of Anthony West, the reigning Australian 250cc production champion. He won the championship here at Phillip Island in the last round back in early September. Of course, he's been riding also in Japan throughout the season on a Honda VTR 1000 bike and doing great things over there in the bigger classes, and really is earmarked as a bit of a star of the future, and hopefully he can get it going in the 1-2-5s and the Grand Prix here this weekend. We might see good things from Anthony West, but at the moment he's got his hands full staying on the track and holding off Michael Bevan and Danny Carter.
Well, I think Anthony West will tuck right over to the inside along pit wall there. The theory with that move is to try and get out of the wind a little bit. That wind is still fairly strong across the circuit, so using that to advantage just to sneak along pit wall. Looked like he got fairly smoothly into the first turn that lap. Still a fairly wide line from Anthony West through the exit of the first turn.
And these three have opened up a gap of 5 seconds, would you believe, over Johnny Chiodo, Jamie Stauffer, Mark Beveridge. 5 seconds between third and fourth in this category of classing is just amazing. They've lost the elastic cord that holds them together, obviously. That snapped, and the first three are away, and the rest of them are racing for fourth now. Well,
this is what Anthony West figured on doing to the whole field, but he didn't quite figure on Michael Bevan and Danny Carter tagging him.
You see the Aprilia there, very good through that apex at Honda corner, and it was noticeable that West was much faster through that particular corner than Michael Bevan, but he tacks back onto him now a little bit, closes it up as they come through Siberia up the back of the circuit once again. This is lap 3 of 8 laps in the 250cc production race.
Anthony West, he's not quite at Grand Prix level yet, but I think basically he's Australia's version of Valentino Rossi and Marco Melandri.
Across the top of Lukey Heights he comes down towards MG, and Bevan getting closer all the time on this second section of the track, and a marshal out there. Don't know what he was doing, perhaps dusting off a little bit of dirt or something that got onto the track, but he taking his life in his hands there as the boys scream around the top of the track now. West past the pit lane entry area. Bevan in second place, and for the moment they're dropping off Danny Carter, so 3 has become 2 very quickly. Anthony West out in front trying to make it 1. Down across the line they come again. West leads them at the end of 3 laps. That last lap, a 1:47.751, and even with the wind blowing as fast and hard as it is here, they're not all that far off the times they were doing in qualifying. West just a couple of tenths of a second off his pole time.
Well, he certainly runs it out wide on the exit of that first turn, but that sets him up well for Southern Loop. But I think he's covering a little bit too much ground possibly, but whatever works for him. And again, using all the track coming out of Southern Loop as well. Trying everything to drop off Michael Bevan, but it's just not working.
Down through turn 3. Jump on the front brakes in the Honda corner as we track down with them around the apex, tied up against the curb there, and then back on the gas as a little look over the shoulder to Anthony West, over the left shoulder to see where Bevan was. Still there though, he hasn't lost the scent at all. Danny Carter though is just losing a 10th here and a 10th there.
Anthony West had a good look over his shoulder then, so he's going to try and wind that wick up just a fraction more, but he'd better not get too wide on that first turn.
Swings left, up the hill towards Lukey Heights for the 4th time. Approaching the halfway mark in the 250cc production bike race. Bevan trying very hard there. Thought he might try and keep the momentum going down towards MG and have a little look up the inside of Anthony West, but he wasn't close enough on that occasion. If he can get close enough in the last couple of laps, that's where we might see him attack.
Anthony West using again all the track, but very much sliding the 250 production bike, which doesn't happen and can't be done by very many people at all. So West is screwing absolutely every ounce out of his 250 Aprilia.
Across the line they come again. It's West, Bevan and Carter. They are the first 3. After that, Johnny Chiodo still holding down 4th place. Jamie Stouffer in 5th. That was the top 5 as West comes screaming around turn 1 again. Nice tight line there compared to when he almost went off on the grass on that number 2. That was a frightening moment for him.
Probably an unexpected gust of wind. Obviously, you can't see the wind coming. It can catch her and carry her out really quick. Especially on a light 250 production bike.
These bikes pretty much stock standard as they come off the showroom floor as Bevan gets a little bit closer here at Honda Corner, so he is inching ever closer to West as this race wears on. They can change the brake pads and a couple of the internals as far as the jetting on the carburation, but apart from that, they are very much stock standard. Yeah,
very much so. Only allowed to change the jetting a certain percentage so that everything is basically standard, but just fine-tuned.
Up towards Lukey Heights they come again for the 5th time. It is West with Michael Bevan. You can see there the Aprilia has opened up a little bit of a gap there through turns 7 and 8 as they come up towards the highest point of the track and then down into MG once more. But Bevan is showing he's not all that bad on the brakes getting into the turn, but then West opens up that advantage once again.
Yeah, I think Westy might have just a little bit more horsepower by the look of that through the S's from Siberia back up to Lukey Heights. It seems like he can put just a little bit more time on Michael Bevan than Bevan would like to, and just breaks the toe that bit too much for Bevan to be able to hang on to it.
Across the line they come at the end of 5 laps, and that margin between West and Bevan this time was 0.8 of a second, so it is increasing ever slightly now. And just when we thought Bevan was closing it up, Anthony West responds out in front, and once again a 1:47.724 on his last lap, which is just outside his pole time of 47.6. So they're going very quickly here despite these blustery conditions.
Well, they've got all the talent scouts out there in the crowd having a look, so the 250 production boys definitely want to be seen to be doing something very special, and this is exactly what he's up to.
Down into Honda Corner again.
He's got to go for another look over the shoulder here. We'll just see. Yeah, he's definitely worried about Michael Bevan, so Anthony West got his head down the whole time, apart from a quick look over his shoulder out of Honda hairpins.
Bevan good again there through that right-hander at Honda Corner, and then the small kink up towards Siberia, but this is where West can eke out a bit of an advantage, just a couple of metres here as they come up towards Lukey Heights, and once again you can see that gap has opened up. Bevan just doesn't have the horses underneath him, obviously, to get it up the hill coming out of Siberia.
And just one thing there, you can notice Anthony West is a long way further down on the bike than Michael Bevan is, and that'll be a headwind coming back up from Siberia to Lukey Heights, so that'll give him a little bit of extra pace as well.
Around the top of the track they come, or when they come down to the start-finish line, they'll have just 2 more laps to run. Here's West again. We'll see what the gap is as they come across the line this time, but it might have even opened up to about a second or so now. Another little look. He's having plenty of peaks over the shoulders and under the armpits as well. Bevan comes across the line, and it's 1.6 this time, the difference between West and Bevan. So he gained 0.8 of a second that time, West, over Michael Bevan.
Well, West has been successful at this stage. He's actually broken Michael Bevan's hope and toe, basically giving him the shunt and putting enough time on him to make him feel helpless, and he's going to have to settle for second place.
The 7th of 8 laps through the kink, down towards Honda Corner for the second last time. West tucking in behind the screen. Stay as aerodynamic as he possibly can. Here's Bevan now with the leather slapping, and Danny Carter also there doing a fine job in third place. And look at that absolute daylight between Carter in third place and Jamie Stouffer in fourth. The best part of 10 seconds separating third and fourth, and that is just amazing.
Amazing for 250 production racing, but I guess these boys out the front, as I said, talent scouts are out there. They want to be seen. They want to get a better ride. They've been in the 250 production class long enough, and they want to move on.
17-year-old Anthony West out in front on the CWP Scott Walker Motorcycles affiliate, doing a terrific job over the top of Lukey Heights. Down towards MG Corner they come once again. Michael Bevan and Danny Carter, in contrast to the affiliate, both riding the Suzuki RGV 250s, which for a long time have been the dominant 250cc production bike to go racing on. Yeah, they've definitely been the flavour of the month, but I think the boys might be chasing a few Aprilias from now on. Just a new 250 to hit the scene, and obviously a very capable 250 production bike for this class. Well, Anthony West gets the last lap board as he comes across the line, and it's another advantage this time of about 8.8 of a second per lap. He's out to almost 2.5 seconds in the lead. West as he comes around the right-hander at turn 1 for the last time. Danny Carter back in third place is about 3.5 seconds behind Michael Bevan. You basically forget the rest because they are not going to challenge for the podium. They are a long way behind. And Anthony West, he has just opened up the gap ever so slightly, lap by lap, and it has been quite significant in the last 4 laps. Now he's just got the power down and just pushed away from Michael Bevan. Michael Bevan was hoping to bridge that gap a couple of laps ago because it was close enough to where he could basically smell the back of Anthony West's bike, and unfortunately Westy just put his head down even harder, the hammer down and harder and longer, put some time on him and give him absolutely no chance for that last lap attack. So as the sun beats down at Phillip Island, Anthony West, the sun is certainly smiling on him here in this 250cc production race, up over the top of Lukey Heights for the last time. Michael Bevan has done a great job in second place, but just couldn't stay with the Aprilia. Down to MG, some slower riders coming up, and he came across towards the racing line there, and that would have had the heart in the mouth for Anthony West, but fortunately the rider saw him at the last moment and pulled away, and a long look over the shoulder that time. He knows he's got this race won. He comes around the final corner and then down to take the checkered flag. The 17-year-old from the Gold Coast. Terrific ride, and he comes down to take race 1 of the 250cc production support races here on Grand Prix weekend at Phillip Island. Michael Bevan comes across the line in second place. Danny Carter on bike 28 in third. And then it's a long gap back to those battling it out for fourth place, Jamie Stouffer and Johnny Chiodo. They will come down to the line. Chiodo got in front of Stouffer as they came across the line to take fourth place. Great job by Anthony West there. Obviously got it together, getting a little bit of joy early on before he gets back on his 125 Grand Prix bike that he's a little frustrated with. But the front three put quite a bit of time on the rest of the field, which is, as we said, very unusual. But the boys have got a point to prove. They think it's time to move on. He won't have much of a breather either, Anthony West, as we take a look at the final placings. West from Bevan and Carter, they filled the podium in race 1 of 2 races for the production racing this weekend here at Phillip Island. Johnny Chiodo in 4th place and Jamie Stouffer, he came home in 5th. Cameron, that is race 1 of 2 for the 250 Proddies.
Great ride. Joe Melandri, the pole sitter in the 125s, and his moment will come at the Australian Grand Prix in about an hour from now. These are the 250 production bikes, and they are on their warm-up lap, getting ready for their 8-lap contest, and Anthony West, Warren Smith on the Aprilia, is very much the man to watch.
Certainly is, Cameron. He was the man to watch yesterday in race 1 of the 250cc production category. He will also be out there, not quite alongside Marco Melandri on the front row of that grid, but he is racing this weekend as a wild card in the 125cc Australian Grand Prix. He has pole position from Michael Bevan and Danny Carter. Those men occupied the 3 steps of the podium in that order in yesterday's race. The man on the outside of the front row is the Irishman J.J. O'Reilly, also on board an Aprilia, just like Anthony West. The second row of the grid, as one of the elder statesmen of the 250cc production category, Johnny Chiodo, Scott Charlton, Jamie Stouffer and Cameron Donald. They make up the second row of the grid. Row 3 is Craig McMartin, Rodney Taplin, Mark Beveridge and Jason Bell. All of these riders on board Suzuki RGV 250s, Peter Rabarats, Yaniv Pellig, Dave Kelly and Ross Cooper. Row 5 has Doug Hall, Daniel Zorre, Ben Attard and Peter Wild starting from 20th position. Back to row 6, John Linney, Adrian Schlegel, Jimmy Lau and Wayne Williams from 24th position. Martin Bobrowski, Mark Tonello, Adrian Pierpoint and Dean Cottier. They make up row number 7. Chris Jensen, Mark Lamont, Declan McConchy and Lee Burrows. They are on row 8. Row 9 is Maguire, Lim, Morrissey and Burke. Back to row 10, Andrew Shirley, Neil Keane, Jay Grenfell and Paul Locke. 40 riders in total will go pouring down Gardner Straight towards turn 1. This series of races this weekend sponsored by Cameron Transport, and Anthony West there in the blue and yellow leathers on board one of 2 RS Aprilia 250s on the front row of the grid. The man on the outside of the front row, J.J. O'Reilly, also on board that second Aprilia. The rest of the bikes, like that one there, number 21, the Dunlop Alpine Stars AGV entry of Johnny Chiodo. They are all Suzuki RGV 250s. 2-stroke production machines. And for a long time, Kevin, the Suzukis have been the bike of choice in this category of racing, the fastest bikes until the emergence of the Aprilias. We are about to go racing for the first time on Grand Prix Day at Phillip Island, and they are away. The green light goes. Anthony West got the rear tyre and the power down off the line, and he leads them off the line down to turn 1 for the first time. Look at him clear out in front with Michael Bevan, the man who came second to him yesterday in race 1 of this 2-race series, right behind him. So it's West with the helmet tucked underneath the screen who leads them down to Southern Loop for the very first time. Bevan closing up behind him in second place, and the rest of the field stream through in brilliant sunshine here at the island, even though the wind as they come out of turn 3 will be right in their faces as they head down to Honda Corner, the first of the hairpins for the first time.
Very hard on the brakes into Honda hairpin for the first time after the very fast kink. Now everybody's gotten into there reasonably smoothly, just getting things organised, going obviously as quick as they can, but got to be a little bit careful on that first tight right-hander with the temperature of the tyres not exactly up to race temperature until pretty much the second lap.
Anthony West, of course, the reigning Australian 250cc production champion, wrapped up the title here at Phillip Island in round 6 of the ARRC Championship in early September. He was dominant at various times throughout the season when he was back in Australia, after also spending a lot of time in Japan this year racing 1000cc bikes, the BTR Honda over there, and winning a couple of races in that category as well. So a man who can ride fast, a young man at that, 17 years of age from the Gold Coast. He's quick on the small bikes and quick on the big bikes.
Seems like anything with 2 wheels and a set of handlebars just can jump on it and ride it pretty much faster than anybody else, because he shocked the pants off everybody over in Japan as soon as he did jump on a big bike and went as quick as he did. So Anthony West seemingly got everything in front of him yet. He's right at the front of the 250 production now, but this is the normal stepping stone, and well, he's exactly where he needs to be to make the next progression of steps.
At the end of the first lap, he led Michael Bevan by almost 8/10 of a second, and there is a real dice going on back in the pack. Michael Bevan in second place. Jamie Stouffer, the 18-year-old former dirt track champion, has moved up into third place. And Danny Carter, yesterday's third place getter, is back down the field in fourth place. Down the sweeper they come, through the left-hander at turn 3, and West, well, his lead has been reduced somewhat, coming up very quickly. Michael Bevan, as they came down towards Honda Corner at the hairpin, was able to get closer up onto the back. That Aprilia, the CWP Scott Walker Motorcycles Aprilia of Anthony West. And then there's a small gap getting back there to Cameron Donald as they come around Siberia. It's West out in front, but the men behind him, Michael Bevan and Jamie Stouffer, certainly haven't given up the chase by any stretch of the imagination. And Danny Carter also there as well. So it's a four-way go out in front, and they are evenly spaced across those first four placings. Michael Bevan, though, is quickly picking up the scent here and taking a little bit out of Anthony West's lead, corner by corner.
Just grabbing a tenth here and a half a tenth somewhere else, breaking Anthony West's lead slightly in the first couple of laps. Anthony West, like a shot out of a gun away from the line and up on that first lap on cold tyres. And if a rider can go that quickly on cold tyres, that's a good sign that he's something special, because it's very, very tricky getting around quickly on cold tyres.
Michael Bevan was able to take 0.2 of a second out of Anthony West's lead on that second lap, so they have 6 to go now. And here is a real good go between Jamie Stouffer and Danny Carter for third place. Across the line it was Carter who held down third, but as they came into turn 1, it was Stouffer who got back in front. So Anthony West out in front, trying to keep that Aprilia wound up as he tucks back in under the screen with the chin resting on the helmet. There's Stouffer on board that fluoro orange RGV Suzuki 250, leading Danny Carter at the moment in that battle for third place.
Bevan not quite close enough to have a go at Anthony West under brakes into Honda hairpin, but continually closing that gap ever so slowly, but only got 8 laps to track Anthony West down. We're almost halfway there, and he's certainly got enough time to take the lead if he can do that.
Well, in yesterday's first race, West was able to win from Michael Bevan by almost 2.5 seconds. Well, at the moment, there's no hint that that sort of margin might be repeated here in race 2. As we look at the back of the Aprilia of Anthony West and Michael Bevan as they sweep up towards the top of Lukey Heights, gaining inch by inch, looking up the inside perhaps as they dive down into the hairpin at MG Corner. West comes across and closes the door on him, and Bevan, well, he was getting very close there to having a little bit of a look, just perhaps showing him a tyre, saying, hey Anthony, I'm right here behind you, Matt.
Nothing like a little bit of pressure, trying to give Anthony West a bit of a rattle, but very much experienced Anthony West, so I don't think it would bother him. But Michael Bevan certainly isn't going to let him go, and it looked like he might have, Michael Bevan that is, lost a little bit of ground when he had a look up the inside there. So Anthony West just broken away that 1/10 or 2 of a second again.
Across the line, those two had a lead of just on 2.5 seconds from Danny Carter and Jamie Stouffer. J.J. O'Reilly in 5th place, some 5 seconds behind the leading 4. So it's West, then Bevan, Danny Carter and Jamie Stouffer. Bevan on board the Melbourne Suzuki RGV 250. He's right up there with West again. Another little look over the right shoulder, costing 100th here and 100th there every time he pokes the head up from behind the screen. You see the elbows poking out as he tries to wring everything out of the bike, and then jumps up from behind the screen to jump on the front brake around Honda Corner, up towards turn 5, and then around Siberia they will come once again. Leading them as he did yesterday. Oh, a moment there for Michael Bevan as he came around Siberia, wound on the throttle a little bit too quickly and almost cost himself a place there in second.
Just trying to exit Siberia that little bit earlier and get a bit more speed for these long, fast S's down through the back past the hay shed and up onto Lukey Heights. You can just get a fraction of throttle on that fraction earlier out of Siberia. It helps you all the way up to Lukey Heights. But Michael Bevan still pretty much right on the back wheel of Anthony West. Maybe needs to settle down just a little bit so that he doesn't make any moves where it costs him time.
Well, the difference between them as they came across the line at the end of 3 laps was just 0.44 of a second, and then there was a further 2 seconds back to Danny Carter. So Michael Bevan at this stage the only challenger to the dominating Anthony West on board his Aprilia. Across the line they come. We'll give you the split this time at the halfway mark. West was able to open the advantage again by a couple of tenths of seconds. It's now back to 0.60, the difference between West and Bevan as far as time at the end of 4 laps. And there are still plenty of seagulls flapping around Phillip Island. The one that was collected by Sean Geronimi certainly didn't send out a warning to the others that are around.
Well, I don't think the seagulls have got any idea about what's going on, and they really don't care, so we'll leave them alone.
I thought one must have flown into your mouth for a second there, the amount of time it took you to respond.
Ah, well, I'm not a nature watcher like your good self. But anyway, Anthony West, every time Michael Bevan seems to be able to get up pretty much on his back wheel, then Anthony West seems to have the ability to just turn the taps on a little bit more, put a bit more pressure on Michael Bevan. Bevan tries a little bit harder and gets himself out of the seat occasionally.
Through the kinks, up towards the hay shed. Once again they come on lap 5, 3 laps remaining as they come towards completing this lap. And here is the battle for third. It's been a really good go between Jamie Stouffer and Danny Carter. Stouffer there on board the Peel Levers machine, the Newcastle Suzuki by 27, the fluoro orange machine. And Danny Carter on the Flash Car Care Suzuki RGB 250 in 4th place for the moment, and they are going to battle it out for 3rd place and that final spot on the podium, it would seem. Stouffer, the younger brother of Daniel Stouffer, who we'll see racing next year, of course, once again in this 250cc production class. We've also seen him in action already this weekend at the Australian Grand Prix at Phillip Island in the Supersport class, filling in on the bike that Mark Willis gave up the ride on to take the place of Katsuaki Fujiwara in the 500cc Grand Prix. So the chain of Australian rider talent moving one notch up, as it has done for a lot of years whenever the opportunity has arisen. And Stouffer now trying to fend off Danny Carter. He was all over him around the top of the circuit. It looked as though Carter was going to have the slipstream in the draft down the main straight. But I tell you what, that RGV 250, Jamie Stouffer, pretty fast as they come.
He's looking over his other shoulder.
He was looking over the right-hand edge of the bike as he came out of Southern Loop, and Carter was on the inside and slips by underneath him now as they come back down to Honda Corner.
Nice and tight into Honda Corner. Danny Carter covered the line so that Stouffer couldn't get back under brakes into Honda hairpin. So Danny Carter up into 3rd place.
And pouring away as well. There's been hardly a bike length between them for 3 or 4 laps now. Stouffer looks over the right shoulder. There's no one else behind you, Jamie. The task is out in front. Catch that man, Danny Carter, who is now in 3rd place. But look at this gap out in front. Anthony West over Lukey Heights once again has opened up that gap increasingly, as he did yesterday. But Bevan was right with him until about the 3 or 4 lap mark. And then West just opened up a couple of tenths here and a couple of tenths there, and he leads by around about 1.5 seconds as they come around the top of the circuit once again. What a talent this young man is. He said 17 years of age from the Gold Coast. I'm sure we're going to see bigger and better things from him in the next couple of years. Perhaps the next Australian to make a move full-time to the Grand Prix world, if he can get results to go his way, as they have done in his short couple of years of road racing to this point.
Anthony West is quite impatient about stepping up on the classes too. Talking to him and his parents recently, his father was a little bit concerned that he just wants to jump onto the big bikes as quick as he can, like yesterday would be soon enough, seemingly.
Anthony West indeed had an offer from Jeff Hardwick, the team manager of the Shell Advance V-Twin Honda team, to fill the place of Gary McCoy at Imola in the San Marino Grand Prix, round 11 of the championship, after McCoy had broken his leg, and the warm-up session before the Brno Czech Republic Grand Prix. So the offer of a ride on a V-Twin Honda in the 500cc class was very tempting. And in the end, Anthony decided against taking such a huge jump from classes. I don't think it'll be too long before we do see him somewhere in the Grand Prix. Of course, we'll see him in a little while in the 125cc Grand Prix as a wild card, but full-time ride might be in the offing in the next couple of years.
Yeah, currently on the speed charts, top speed charts that is, Anthony West bikes about 12k down on the faster 125s in the Grand Prix, so very much behind the 8 ball in the Grand Prix class.
And that is on a bike which is supplied by the Mac Motors team, which Masao Azuma rides for. It basically should be the same motorcycle, and obviously when you're that far down on top end speed to the top men, and 12 k's an hour in the 125s is, well, it's like night and day.
It's pretty much like being on a push bike instead of a motorcycle, actually. But I'm sure Anthony West, in the company he's keeping out in there in the 125 class, will certainly learn a lot as well, just being with the world-class riders.
Danny Carter holding down third place with Jamie Stouffer right behind him now as Anthony West received the last lap board as he came across the line at the end of lap 7, down through Southern Loop for the last time. His advantage over Michael Bevan, almost exactly as it was yesterday, 2.3 seconds as they came across the line at the end of 7 laps, and there was a further 6 seconds between Michael Bevan and Danny Carter. So Carter and Stouffer really being left behind by the two men out in front, especially this man coming up under some lap traffic there. One of the slower riders, Matthew White, being passed. That Peter Stevens motorcycle was RGV 250, being lapped by the flying Anthony West on board this CWP Scott Walker Motorcycles Aprilia, the number 36 machine, which carried him to victory in the last round of the Australian 250cc production championships here at Phillip Island in early September.
The surprising thing about this 250 production race is that Michael Bevan is the only one that's been able to respond in any way to the pace being set by Anthony West. Normally 250 production is pretty much full house, one big bunch fighting for the lead.
It is quite a surprise to see Westy out in front by himself as they come across the top of Lukey Heights down towards MG Corner. The last couple of corners here, well, a couple of riders there coming very closely together. That was JJ O'Reilly and Cameron Donald, I think you find, who are getting very close together at MG. But across the line goes Anthony West. There is Michael Bevan in second place, and Danny Carter and Jamie Stouffer are going to duel it out and drag to the line. Carter comes across the front of Stouffer, and the first 3 placings are exactly as they were yesterday. West wins from Michael Bevan and Danny Carter. Jamie Stouffer in 4th place. Cameron Donald came down across the line to finish in 6th place rather. JJ O'Reilly got past Cameron Donald to finish in 5th, but there is the winner, Anthony West. And he's going to give it a little bit of a burnout as well and give the fans down at turn 1. They are packed down there. That is the main campground throughout Grand Prix weekend, as it is for the World Superbike rounds as well. And look at the smoke coming off the back of that. JJ O'Reilly on board that second Aprilia puts the hand in the air. He's also going to give the fans a little bit of a treat with a burnout as well. But Anthony West, a terrific performance from the 17-year-old.
Absolutely, certainly strutting his stuff, Anthony West. Very stylish rider, obviously quick, very focused, just basically does everything right, and at the age of 17, that's very surprising. Normally that's when riders are still making mistakes, but that just doesn't seem to be happening to Anthony West.
There is Danny Carter, everybody lighting up the back tyres and spraying the fans with a plume of smoke. And we've seen all of the support classes this weekend. The extra attraction at Phillip Island is done and out of the way, and now the main attraction is about to come your way live, of course, right here on Fox Sports. We're not that far away, 45 minutes and counting down to the start of the 125cc Australian Grand Prix. But of course at 3 o'clock we'll see Mighty Mick Doohan in action on